Okay, welcome to another edition of the Surfing Violinist podcast. This is the 33rd episode of the show. We started it back in, I never can remember, I think it was April. Or was it March? I don't know, somewhere around then, March or April. 33 episodes, though. So, yeah, we're making some progress. And it's been, I'm surprised we actually have kept it going this long, knowing me. Normally it was like 6 weeks and I'm like, I've moved on to something else. So really trying to see this through at least to the end of 2020. That's my goal, to the end of 2020. So only missed a couple episodes. Neeraj, how you doing? I'm sorry I'm so unresponsive on Facebook. I've got this backlog of Facebook messages and I never read hardly anything. So I'm sorry about that. I'm thankful that you keep messaging, even if it seems like the forward side is totally closed off. The messages are getting through. It's just I'm not good about responding. So thank you for continuing to write in spite of no response from me. Yeah, we're doing pretty good. How you doing this morning, Judah?
I'm doing all right. I've been struggling lately with some lows.
Okay.
Yeah, just some anxiety and depression and frustration. We're having to decide whether or not to buy the house that we're in.
Okay.
And by deciding, I mean, I don't know what deciding means. We can't afford it. So it's like, it's not really a decision. So really, a decision is what to do next if we get kicked out,
Right. Yeah, that's tough. I don't know.
So we're moving to Florida.
You should.
My sister's moving to Orlando in the spring.
Don't move to Orlando.
That's what I told her.
No.
She was super excited about it.
Oh, gosh, I hate that place, man. I just hate it.
How excited she was.
No, I mean,
I'm sorry. She's like, I'm so excited. I was like, what?
Some people like it, man. I mean, that proximity to Disney. Like, if that's your thing, more power to you. I mean, we're still in a Disney world, so more power to you if you enjoy it. Like, I can't. Oh man, they have toll. Like you walk out the door, you pay a toll in Orlando. Okay.
Man, I know.
Like there are tolls everywhere. Hi, Dolstresko. How you doing? Good to see you. Michael Upton, I can't believe you two are still connected after all these years. So awesome. How are you doing? Good to see you. I haven't seen that name in a very long time.
Michael Upton.
Yeah.
He lives actually, I think he's in like Ohio or something. I always feel like there's an opportunity to go see their family.
You upped your camera too high.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's good. Now I'm talking down to you. That's perfect. Yeah, no, Orlando is not for me. Not happening, babe. My cousin lives there. It's fine visiting, but yeah, I guess when you live there, you just pay the pass or whatever, so you don't have to stop at those toll booths. But
well, it's hard for me to really. When I was staying there, I stayed there this summer for like a long weekend, but I was in the what is that super nice hotel right near Disneyland? Like the Regent or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, it's like Four Seasons. I was at the Four Seasons.
Okay, yeah. Super nice.
It was super nice.
Yeah. No, I mean, if there's a lot to do there, and it's cool and all that, but yeah, we it was Thanksgiving this week, Neeraj. So did you have a good Thanksgiving, Judah?
Yeah, I think so. It was pretty good. I was a little too preoccupied with football, and then I was preoccupied with my guilt and shame about that.
Oh yeah, I did play too much League of Legends, so I was a little preoccupied with my no Black Friday stuff over here. It was just video games. I mean, hey, I sat down and watched Thanksgiving Day Parade with the kids and Dad.
Okay.
And that is not my thing. So that was a real that was a real, venturing out for me. Watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. I can't handle it, dude. But yeah, no, it's been a good, relaxing time. I keep trying to get, every day I get like an inch closer to moving into that trailer. But so I sorted some things out. It's falling into place. I'll fix one thing. I'm like, oh, hey, I'm starting to, get the hang of this. And then the very next minute I do something stupid or realize I did something stupid a month before that has made it going to take longer. But thank you for the happy Thanksgiving wishes there, Nirich. We had a good time. Dunes asked, what rank did you end up with? So I'm silver 3 now. I finally got out of bronze.
Nice.
I had one more promo on, I think it was Thanksgiving Day. I got up to silver 3. But yeah, I've been actually pretty toxic. I've kind of just embraced the whole milieu. I guess I've become one of these.
You've become one of the trolls?
Well, not one of the trolls. I never troll. I barely ever. I'm one of those annoying people that refuses to forfeit. So I'll fight, to the bitter end. But yeah, I have like flamed my team a couple times when we get to the end, because it was one of those situations where I was like, I had 100 CS more than everyone on the team, and they just wouldn't listen. I'm clearly the carry at this point, so you should just listen to what I'm telling you to do. And they're just like, oh, I'm going to farm jungle. While we have we've just gotten Baron, I'm going to farm jungle. I need to get these wolves. And then they just go off and stare at the wall bot lane. It's like, we're winning this. Like, what are you doing, dude? So just join me over here, please.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I have problems with that. Like, I always feel like I'm behind. And so I go to the jungle and I always get like yelled at.
Oh, yeah. Well, sometimes you do have to. That's the other problem. The thing that in the ELO that I'm in right now, it is all, they have a game mode called ARAM, all random, all mid, and it's just Howling Abyss is just one lane. There's nothing. It's just one lane, and you just go down the lane and you meet people in the middle. And so it's basically just a fight ball, a team fight ball, and people die and they go out, and it's like a rubber band. It's just like one team pushes until they die, and the other team pushes until they die, and the other team pushes until they die, and then the other team pushes. And so it's just back and forth. That's not how you're supposed to play Summoner's Rift, though. It's 3 lanes with neutral objectives. And so you're really supposed to push outer lanes and get wave control, get your lanes pushing. And people just won't do it. They go to, it's like, 12 minutes has hit. It's time to push mid to win. It's like, you're not going to win, idiot. Like, let's get some pressure here. Let's control objectives. But that just is not, it's foreign concept. So, I mean, you'll be winning and then again, I'm guilty of it too. And that's why I'm in the ELO, because there are times where when you're carrying and you're actually doing well, beating the entire team, but then you over push your pressure and you end up being the one. Yeah, you end up being the one throwing. So I don't know. There's just like this bloodlust. It's just like, I want the kills, man. It's like, that's the kills don't win the game. Anyway, that's my League of Legends rant for the morning. Trolls are people too. E6 before the accident. What was E6? E6 before the accident. I don't. What does that mean? Challenger next season. That's right. No, for real. So Twitch Rivals happened. I'm actually going to talk about Twitch Rivals a little bit today. Team Tyler won. And so basically it's Twitch streamers, and Twitch put on an official event having some of the most well-known names on Twitch who play League of Legends all join together. And they're all solo queue people, typically. Some of them are professionals or former professionals. And but they all get paid to play League of Legends, basically. They sit there and stream all day. So Tyler 1 is one of the most toxic League players in history, but he was banned for a year, and he had this dramatic coming back. And so he won this week. He was 10-0, 10 or 11-0. I think they didn't lose one game. And I don't know. I just love that kid. He's the internet incarnate. So he's like irony bro, like ripped. He benches like 400 or something. I don't know. He's just this weird mix of everything. I mean, he's good at League, but he's also very good at trash talking. And so it was very humorous seeing like official commentators who commented or who shoutcasted League World Championships got commenting on Tyler One's uncensored stream, like no beeps, just him dropping f-bombs like in all chat and screaming at the top of his lungs and them commenting on it. Oh, it's just classic, man. I love the whole thing because it really felt like the internet. Like whenever you watch, you know, they have to kind of tone it down a little bit when it's an official League of Legends Riot thing. So they kind of, you know, it's more PG. And it you know, it's more safe for family or whatever, but it just doesn't feel like the internet. It feels like they're trying to be NBC. And so when you saw this, all of the individual players, so they had two teams playing at once. You're talking about 20 people streaming at one time, their own version of the game. And then you could watch the main Twitch channel, Twitch Rivals, to see, you know, someone editing between all 20 of these streams plus the overall map. And so you could go into their chat, and it was just really interesting. It was very internet. It felt very like today, you know. So it was an interesting little.
It had that raw feeling.
Yeah, and it felt unedited. You know, I still feel like League does. I don't know. I got some conspiracy theories about it. Like, there's just a lot of ways they could hide in the random number generator. That's kind of a black box. So I think that there's ways they can actually sway the game. I'm not 100.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure that it really is real. Because, I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
Like what? Like,
well, you just look at the history.
stuff?
You look at the history of game shows. Like Robert Redford did that movie Quiz Show. Remember Ray Fiennes? And the whole premise was, these game shows were rigged. And if you've, you know, ever paid attention to these reality shows or even cooking shows, when you're really paying attention, you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
They did not finish that dish on time. I saw them at like a minute 30 seconds left, and they were not even close. And all of a sudden they're like, hands up. And then it's like, you know, in a whole season, no one doesn't finish the dish. You're like, I don't know about that. Like, you know, they'll have one every now and then, but there's just a lot of like suspect things that happen and make you realize so much of this reality game show stuff is scripted. And there's a lot of money in League of Legends with a lot of telecoms invested. I don't know if they'd leave all of that to chance.
But I understand that, but how would they do it technically? Have you thought about that?
Well, I mean, it's not Bitcoin, so it's not like it is a hackable thing, you know? Like, I mean, there are independent streamers that have hacked, you know, and used bots and stuff like that. So, you know, who's watching the back door on that? I don't know. I mean, it's not like government level infrastructure, and even governments have been hacked. So I feel like if you were to match fix and manipulate, you could just hide it in the random number generator. You know, a guy gets critical hits every time he hits, and no one can say, oh, you know, if you were to do a comparison, the team they wanted to win, for instance, and it's, you know, convenient that China's won the last 2 years, and it's a Chinese company that funds it. It's like I really do kind of think it's the people with the highest view counts end up winning. That's my theory, because America's never won, and part of it's just because League of Legends is worse because of the Twitch phenomenon, in my opinion, where people are just playing for, you know, the memes or playing to look cool. Whereas over there, they're playing to keep their job, you know, like in Korea no, it's their livelihood. It is their 16-hour-a-day job, and they're not having to perform like, oh, look at me playing the game. They're just playing the game is performing, you know. So,
well, let me ask you a question. Does anybody like at your level of YouTube, you know, just like big time, like non subsidized by China type do they ever like run like tournaments and stuff like that, or do they just do
Yeah.
like
Yeah, there sometimes people get together. I'm still part of a India League of Legends Facebook group, and sometimes they'll do like competitions for Riot's proprietary in-game currency, Riot points. So you can buy other champions. So it'll be like, oh, we're gonna have I don't know, 10,000. Usually won't be that much. I don't know, like 5,000 RP Riot points tournament. And so then they'll set it up themselves. And so Twitch Rivals was kind of like that. It was really just homegrown. Like they didn't even use the infrastructure that Riot provides for actual real tournaments. They just made it themselves. So anybody could do what they did. Like me and you could do that. We could do our own Twitch Rivals.
Thinking, what if somebody like, I think it would be great promo and stuff I think you can make money off if you took like $5,000 and said, like, here, this is the bracket. We'll facilitate the bracket and do that kind of stuff. The winner gets 2,000 and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm not really sure about how it all came into being, but I'm pretty sure that's what they do for Twitch Rivals. I'm pretty sure they have a prize pool, and it's just like poker. You put your money in, and then the more people they get to enter, the more money is available to win. I think that's actually how it started. So yeah, there's nothing to stop people from doing that, and so it is more of an organic. I think that's how Smash Brothers tournaments started, because they've never been officially sanctioned by Nintendo, from what I understand, and it was just basically people bring their back in the day it was N64 or whatever, or GameCube, and they bring. And they have a TV, and they sit there and play with actual controllers, and it's pretty bootstrapped operation, So yeah,
I guess it's more complicated because you have to get like teams together of people.
Yeah, it gets to be. I think League actually had an official team competition. Maybe it was called Clash, and I feel like they only did it like one time. The problem is getting people on the same page, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit in this essay.
Okay.
The problem with League of Legends is meant to be played as a team, but you don't end up playing as a team. You're just kind of a lone gunman out there. Before we jump in, though, let me hit the chat, and then we'll jump into the essay here. Challenger next season. That's right. Countdown Start says, "How are you? Good. Doing good." Christmas Light Guy, can you do the truffle shuffle for me?
How do you do that? What's the truffle? Oh.
I think you have to raise your shirt, though.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
There it is. Truffle shuffle. Hello, everyone. Dunes, I love Twitch Rivals. Shadow Dogs had a whole ass anime arc. They did. That's why, I don't know. I loved the whole thing. Every time Tyler would win, he'd play Who Let the Dogs Out. and getting them to bark, and they wouldn't do it. They're all just like so reserved. Like, yeah, okay. He's like, come on, give me your best. And he would start barking uncontrollably, and they'd be like, rough. Oh, man. All right, here we go. So today's essay is called, today's thought for the day is called Surf, Solo Queue, and Serendipity. Here, I'll throw this into the chat. Chatty peoples. If you don't see this, you can run to Twitch. It'll be in the chat there. Or YouTube. It's popped up there. Facebook is not getting it. So twitch.tv/thesurfingviolinist. Or you can also go to youtube.com/thesurfingviolinist. All right, so I've got 3 videos that I'm linking at the top of this one. Nathan Florence, a prominent world-class surfer. He's the younger brother to John Florence, who's a world champ. And he's got 2 videos, opening day at Pipe and then best day of the year so far at Pipe. And these 2 videos give you a great feel of what it's like to be a surfer at the most premier surf spot on earth, the Bonsai Pipeline, North Shore of Oahu in Hawaii. And it also gives you a feel for how crazy it is, not just how the waves are, but the elaborate infrastructure that has developed over years in terms of who gets the wave. It's fascinating, and it's frightening. And then we have another video from Tyler 1, and it is the video chronicling their winning of this year's Twitch Rivals. And he's talking shit to somebody on the other two. He says, "You get picked on at school, you get picked on in the Rift, bitch." Like, this is in the contest, right? Like, so, this kind of stuff happens on the football field or on the I've already forgot, on the pitch in cricket. This stuff happens, but you typically aren't privy to it. You don't get to hear the mics talking all the smack to each other. So it is a competitive milieu, All right, so here's the essay. A few episodes ago, we had a chat with our buddy David discussing David Foster Wallace's essay, How Tracy Austin Broke My Heart, an essay in which David Foster Wallace expressed the incomprehensibility of physical prowess. We're trying to get somewhere with this show, not just an idea of a place, not just a brand or online persona, but an actual flesh and blood, IRL practical realization of mind-body synergy. A renaissance man for the digital age for all of us, and that'll look different for everybody. Whatever the things are that you find almost pulling you in different directions, but finding some way to make those things integrate and be synergized. Incarnate our galaxy brain takes in the mud, blood, and beer of Clown World Game of Thrones and see if they actually survive. All of these ideas sound nice when we're waxing political or philosophical in our bespoke safe space niches on the internet, but do we have any real-world use when the shit hits the fan on the shifting sands of market-driven society? I think part of the problem with our stagnation in current year is an outmoded, willing suspension of disbelief when it comes to success in sports, politics, business, religion, and life. There is no I in team. Play by the rules. May the best man win. None of these platitudes are true, at all. But we pretend they are. Match fixing, insider trading, scripted Cinderella stories, K-fob heel turns to set up a multi-season wilderness wandering that will culminate in a dramatic redemption arc comeback story. Showbiz as praxis. All of that is real. It's the hero's journey, as interpreted through the shared language of the Wild West, the stock market, Tinseltown, Vegas, and courtly intrigue. We can bitch and moan about how the game is rigged, or maybe we can master the game within the game just enough to chart a course for a third path that is better than nihilistic acquiescence or soul-compromising grift. Ever since I read the story of Mark Fu's ignominious death at one of the scariest waves on the planet, surfing has fascinated me. Since I received my first solar plexus pounding at the mercy of the plunging lip of a hurricane wave, I was hooked. This was real, something real. Sure, the punches felt in the ring are real. The crush of the dog pile after a fumble on an American football field is really painful. The crack of the bat delivering a home run or a six is really audible. The fever pitch of the group dynamic at an intense rivalry, whether it be between Auburn, Alabama, the Iron Bowl today, or Tottenham Arsenal, is palpable. But there's something about coming face-to-face with Neptune in what feels like Davy Jones's locker. The hypothermic appendage tingling of impending Ragnarok after a wipeout. And you just keep going back. Whether or not you're a surfer, chances are you know the feeling. Experiencing real terror, real stakes, you gotta go back. But there's another element to surfing, the social element. We call it the lineup, where the surfers gather just beyond the breaking waves to jockey for position to catch a wave. You can't share a wave, not really. Every wave is predestined for celibacy or monogamy. Neptune isn't into polyamory. In Endless Summer 2, Bruce Brown said that every wave is like a fingerprint. No two are the same. It sounds like a romantic notion, a surfer's mythos to make us sound more mystical. Dude, every wave's like a fingerprint, bruh. But in nature, it's 100% true. Fluid physics is chaos theory in action, and it makes a shifting playing field for surfers that is irreducibly complex. There are rules of right-of-way in surfing, but like all human endeavors, they get political quick. Locals rule, except when they don't. Right to power can be wrested by physical violence or threats thereof, trash talk, or forms of wind trading, tag teaming the lineup to edge out outsiders. Weird shit happens, though. Neptune plays favorites. It's uncanny. Some days a dude is just predestined to get every wave he wants. Like he's just picking up hot and ready Krispy Kreme donuts off of the assembly line and everyone else just watches dumbfounded. How did he make that? He was too late. Why didn't someone else take that wave? He didn't even have priority. Cults of personality ebb and flow with the wind and the waves. For years, I avoided the lineup like the plague. The usual suspects just dominated the scene, and I felt like a dork, or worse, I ran somebody over and almost got the shit beat out of me. But you can't escape it. If you surf, you have to join the fray. That's all there is to it. You have to fight tooth and nail to make one of those waves, not your bitch, but your dance partner. And there are often at least 50 other suitors doing their damnedest to push you off of that dance floor. Surfing is individualism as sport. It is the free market in action. But because it's tethered to the sea, like Bulkington if he had shipwrecked in Polynesia, it has the spirit of aloha to keep it from becoming pure grift. We keep talking about which way, Western man, forward or backward. Debating about how far backward is just right for plebeian Goldilocks to consider conservative before it reverts to pagan savagery. We're all savages, we're all colonized by rules, regulations, ideologies, and subcultures we'd probably just rather had never existed. And yet, the lineup remains. Do you quit, give up, exit? Go surf a shittier wave so you don't have to deal with people? Or do you take your place in the lineup humbly yet assertively? I was going to have this queued up. I'll just do it. Give me a second. So this is that video by Nathan Florence.
While you do that, should I do the truffle shuffle?
Yeah, truffle shuffle. Is he asking for it again?
No.
He's getting demanding over there now.
No, he's gone.
Okay, so this is Nathan Florence. This is an ad. Hold on a second. Okay, so I'm going to skip to the end here. Nathan Florence put a GoPro in his mouth, so we get the first person view. And you get a sense of just how chaotic the lineup is, especially at the Bonsai Pipeline.
Bonsai.
Oh, man, dude, these wipeouts just... I'm not ready yet. Okay, I gotta add a... Man, I need Jamie, dude. Come on. Where's my Jamie? I have to do all this shit. There's a window. All right, hold on.
Or your Dan.
Who's Dan?
Isn't that H3H3?
Yeah. All right, so here we go. So just look at this insanity here. This is him wiping out. I like they synced up so you can see from the beach view in the bottom right occasionally. This is what it looks inside the lineup. And this is the chaos of what we call the impact zone. And you can get a sense of the lineup there. Bodyboarder catching a wave. Okay, so now look at all these people, and they're all jockeying for position, and typically the person who is what we call deepest, that means closest to the peak of the wave, has priority. But you can see, like, how do you even determine that with all these people? You have to look to your right, look to your left, look to your right, look to your left. He goes...
It's like you don't have a lot of time to analyze it.
Yeah, exactly. And then he wiped out, and look, there's a bodyboarder right in front of him when he eats it. He goes underwater, and oh no, it's a surf photog. Like the guy's like 4 feet away. Like, okay, thank God it didn't hit you. And you know they get back out to the lineup. Lineups in general in surfing have gotten way less toxic. I mean, this is one of the most competitive places on earth for surfers. And you'll see, people are shaking hands, and I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of people out there.
Thanks, Obama.
Yeah, so, there's like some camaraderie. People seem to be smiling. But there's this one, let's see if I can find this one clip where he's, maybe this one. That's not this one. He has to like basically slalom between people in this one. No, he eats it there. Oh, God. That's just brutal, man. Horror. So yeah, this complex calculus and political, like, who has a right away. This is it. Look, he has to, like, that photog right there. 3 guys there. He does a cutback so close to the other dude. He's right on that guy.
Oh, wow.
I mean, he's literally like 6 inches away.
Do those photog guys they gotta get hit all the time, huh?
I don't know. I mean, see, we don't have that experience around here because we're in, no Surfsville. So we're supposed to have some waves tomorrow. So, maybe it'll happen. But I wanted to show that just to get an idea.
You're talking about the political nature of sports, right?
Well, I'm talking about specifically surfing. So look at all that chaos. It's like driving on an Indian road. It's a feat of human action, competitively cooperative. That's the weird crux, right? Like when JBP would talk about the yin yang and how it's a symbol of like chaos and order married, but not either or, but both and in their proper places. And, it's like you can't really predict when the chaos is needed and when the order is needed. So you got to have that order so that you can dance with the chaos, right? So it is kind of like that. It's competitively cooperative. If everyone's not acting selfishly in the lineup, like, oh, well, after you, sir. Oh, well, after you. Then all these waves are going to go unridden. Like, you have to go. But at the same time, you can't be a douchebag unless you want to get teeth kicked in. And it's dangerous. I mean, you could land on somebody and kill somebody. So how the hell does that even work? Competitively cooperative. It's both and. It's pagan and it's civilized. We can't get where we need to go strip mining the past to pave the road to the future, but we can't pretend that anarchy or tribalism will survive without mastering the art of maneuvering through the reality of progress. And we won't figure out any of this in the safety of our own cultural comfort zone. You got to get in the lineup. You want to talk about maneuvering? Look at Nathan Florence here. It's insane. In my opinion, one of the other best proving grounds for real-world art of maneuver is in online gaming. The banter in the surfing lineup used to be pretty bad, but compared to online gaming, it's downright tame today. Anonymity makes even the weakest feel 6'5" and ironclad. This week, Tyler won a League of Legends event called Twitch Rivals, in which prominent Twitch streamers who play League of Legends compete. Tyler 1 is the epitome of Kappa pride, homoerotic physique posting, irony bro made flesh, shit talking uncensored by the broadcasting platform, and commented on by the self-trained best sportscasters in the business. It was one of the funnest spectator events in the history of League of Legends, as far as I'm concerned. Not the best caliber of play by any stretch, but tongue-in-cheek with merciless commentary and the most interaction you could possibly imagine for a sporting event, featuring players competing remotely at their home computers, all individually broadcasting their own streams to compete with the broadcaster's version. League of Legends has a problem. It's designed to be a team game, but in our ever-disconnecting, overly connected world, people play the game on solo queue, most often as an escape from real life. People play to avoid dealing with people in politics, but it's a team game. The other day I played a game and we won, and the team got on so well we queued up for another together. League of Legends now offers an in-game audio chat feature that automatically works when you enter into a team pre-game lobby. I heard someone else's mic click on, and we just listened to each other's room noise. Nah, too soon. I think we both just clicked our mics off and exited audio chat. Even though in theory audio chat would help better coordination. But that's not what happens. If only 2 guys have the audio chat turned on, they will tend to turn against their teammates, trash talk them. Even if one of the 2 is really the source of the team's problems, the other person defends them out of a people-pleasing bias. A strange, passive-aggressive avoidance of confrontation happens on the internet. Subtweeting has become a way of life. In solo queue, with the almost total anonymity, it develops its own complex hydra of coping mechanisms and adapted strategies for success or a laugh. Win trading, shit talking, intentionally losing until a bit of momentum is established, then using only 20% of your power to prove you can win even when you're not trying. But every now and then, just like in surfing or poker, the random number generator smiles upon you, and you have that brief moment of perfect synergy. Everyone's simpatico, winning a pivotal team fight, and even the dude just in it for the memes can't help but admire the victory with a swell of pride. You can write it all off, the game is rigged, or you can play the game, the deeper magic. Win or lose, you're building a legacy to a renaissance that preserves the art of war, the wave sliding club, and the noblesse oblige that you refuse to forfeit no matter how cynical you get, mandating that you keep your customer happy. You're preserving all of these almost unconsciously. You want to win, but you don't want to snake somebody. You want to be top dog, but you don't want to be truly toxic. Just a bit toxic to keep things spicy. Come on. It's a delicate dance between boredom and oblivion, baby, but you ain't gonna find it as a spectator anymore. God smiles on the lineup and solo queue, the proving ground for human action. Cooperative competition to preserve what's come before, but not at the expense of a joyous future. 2020 will usher in the decade that decides how the individual can carve a unique path without running roughshod over others. God help us. But it's going to be great. And it will require a mind-body simpatico that refuses reductionism and prizes articulation. Onward to the riff, brothers! Out into the lineup! Embrace the struggle to learn to dance with the truth, shoreless, indefinite as God. There you go. That's my thought for the week.
I like it.
Ready to play some League of Legends now. I'm actually ready to go surfing is what I'm ready to do. We're on another flat spell. I went out the other day we had a little bit of a wave, and I brought my drone out there, and I started flying the drone, trying to get some footage. And as soon as I showed up, it just all went to crap. It's like literally the photographer shows up and it just turns to garbage. Seeing these guys struggle just to stand up on, our that wasn't a wave, that was a ripple version of waves out here. And yeah, so I just filmed. That was it.
So, can I sum up what I heard is that we are struggling with the balance between toxicity and constructive criticism, team play.
Yeah.
How do we get success in this like relational political system that we're in?
I think it's the struggle between individualism and the society.
There we go.
We live in a society, and
Collectivism.
So individualism and collectivism. That's good. But society is the word we should use to talk about cooperative competition, which is it seems like a paradox, but we live with that paradox every day.
Yeah.
And watching Twitch Rivals, it's all memes. They're talking shit to each other, but they're just having fun. Like they're all playing. It is fully K-fob and having fun while doing it. And they're all making money while doing it. It's like, it's not, but it seems less cynical for some reason, even though it sounds more cynical. Which is the irony that we live in, and so just I see so many people thinking that we're going to, and I'm guilty of this too. We're gonna find hope in one of two austere, extreme positions: total anarchy in a savage sense, like Bronze Age pervert. Like we're just gonna go back, but then. It's like Goldilocks. I'm gonna keep this much of civilization with me because I like this, I like this, I like this. And then there's this other version where it's total collectivism, like join the church. We already have this established.
Get in line.
Yeah, get in line. Just do your part. Blah blah blah. And none of us believe either of these extremes. We're living what we actually believe all the time. We're individualists who are trying to figure out how to have a society that's not crushing you and is not shitting on everyone, so like, no surfer, like when I say that, like the surfing is a free market sport. However, surfers do not want to pollute the ocean. Like really don't. Surfers, like you could find some of the most cynical surfers you imagine, and they just will not throw shit into the water. Like, because that's why we're there, man.
You don't shit where you live, man.
And you breathe this air, and it wakes you up. And no matter how cynical, whether you're a drug addict, whatever, you're out there and you're a surfer. And you don't need somebody to come in and preach at you about like cleaning the beach. Like you feel compelled because you have this thing. I don't know. It's this shared experience. Once you've lived through that rite of passage of your first wipeout and gone back out again, you respect quote unquote Mother Nature. Like you don't want to make Neptune mad. And so it is, sometimes these superstitions, the reason why they persist is because there's something there. Even if the thing behind it may not be real, You know, like I don't believe in Neptune, but at the same time, it's just like like I was talking about the other week about the poker god smiling on people. Sometimes you're just like, this just seems too intentional. Like no individual human is behind this weird circumstance, but the RNG sure does seem to have an agenda here, you know.
Yeah, I've actually been thinking about this lately. It's a struggle in my mind, you know, in my philosophy of whether or not it's okay to berate somebody. So flame somebody, you know,
Right.
like because when I get flamed all the time because I suck. I'm a feeder, man. I'm a noob. But I take it and I'm like, yeah, you know, like I need to do better. Tell me what to do better. And a lot of times they will, you know. But so the question is like, so lately, so I work with a bunch of Eastern European people that, awesome people, but they are not afraid to tear someone down,
Right.
you know, and yell at them and point out, errors.
Right.
And it goes counter to my culture, my personal culture, you know, like I'm just such the nice guy that when somebody makes a mistake, I just absorb it, you know.
Right.
I'm like, I
Yep.
do and thing. And
Yep.
and I think there's something evil in that.
Yes,
There's
I do
something
too.
sinful in
I do
letting
too.
people get away with things.
Yeah. Well, and I think that that's part of the problem with the domestication of a overly civilized. Domestication is a good word for it, where, you know, you've told dudes not to be toxic, but toxicity sometimes is needed to check people who are otherwise not going to ever care. Like they're just never going to think that they're shitting in the place that they're surfing is a big deal because they've gotten used to the stink, you know, so you're not allowed to make fun of that person. So like this morning, Starbucks, the first time this has happened, and I can't remember how long, but this doesn't happen in a big city generally where a Starbucks doesn't open on time. But in our area, like, you know, we're just like, you know, boo-foo, like who gives a shit. Every now and this happens. And so it's 5:30. I check on the app. It's supposed to be open. And the door's not open. And they're there. They can see. They heard me, you know, don't even look. They don't acknowledge my existence. I'm like, whatever. I'm not going to worry about it. So I just go, I sit down outside. And one lady comes up and she'd done her order online. And Starbucks, Panama City Beach, near. It's not the Pier Park one. It's the one on the Back Beach in front of Walmart. And so she'd done her order online, and it's ready. And she walks up and pulls on the door. She's like, "What? Like my coffee's ready?" And she's like, "Wait, she just put it on the counter. My coffee's right there. Why didn't she just open the door to let me in to get the coffee that's already done?"
Yeah.
They never even acknowledged. They never waved. They never say, "Hey, we'll be in here in just a minute." They never came to the door. No customer service whatsoever. No acknowledgement of anything. And this British dude come up. I'm sorry, dude, if I'm getting that wrong. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he's a British dude. Came up, and which is kind of random around here. We don't have too many expats around here. He was getting salty. Like he was mad. I was talking about how this happened many times to me at this particular location, and they were just like, he's like, "Man, I live on the West Coast, and like they open up at 4:30 a.m. 4:30. You know, this is 5:30, and they're not. It's 5:50, and they're 20 minutes late." And so sure enough, the girl comes and opens the door, dude, and just smiles like, "Hello, welcome." Like not, "Hey, I'm sorry we were running late." Like nothing. Like no acknowledgement. It was just like pure like, everything is fine. I'm like, what's happening? And you know, we all, like, I wasn't going to say anything anyway because I'm that kind of person. I don't really like those confrontations. I don't know, like India, actually, I was better at it in India because it's kind of part of the game and it's just expected. You know, like when a guy tries to cheat you in the auto, like you get into a bargaining war with him, but it's like good natured. Again, it's like is like a level of toxicity on both directions, because you need to figure out where the actual market price is for the two of you, even though the market price is set by the union or whatever. Like, you're like, no, I'm actually willing to pay more than that. I don't give a shit. Like, I'm ready to get there. It's like, an Indian won't. They'll just be like, no, I'll walk the whole way there. I'm like, dude, I'm not walking. That costs more money in my brain, like, than just paying the extra 15 rupees, man. Like, no, I'm going to bargain for this.
But it's not disturbing there. It's
just part of the game, you know. It's just,
whereas if you did it here in America, or sometimes when you do it, it feels troubling and disturbing.
Oh no, he said something bad about me. I have issues. But none of us, I don't even think, said anything. Like, and I think one girl finally did apologize to one of the other, because there was four people sitting there waiting. And, you know, just this, oh, well, what are you going to do? Well, you're probably going to open up on time. You know, that's what you're going to do when you work for Starbucks. Like,
yeah, but you've been through this before and you still go back. So
that's true. I'm not punishing them. And that gets to what, you know, what you're talking about. Like, listen to Tyler the way he talked to his team. I mean, he was brutal. He's brutal, you know?
Yeah.
But it's almost like... Private Pile. What's his name in Full Metal Jacket? You know, it's like that, but ironic. Like, it's not really, you know, he's not really meaning it. But you do need, I've thought about how sometimes, you and I benefit from that stuff, even though we don't like it in the moment. And I think people do.
I had this conversation with my wife about teachers, because she was talking about how her music teacher was one of the cruelest, meanest ladies she's ever had as a teacher, but she learned so much.
Yep.
But then I came back, you know, at first I was like, yeah, we need to be cruel. But then I challenged her, pushed back a little bit by saying, well, you didn't go into like a singing career, you know?
Right.
It's not like it. She's an amazing singer. And she did sing like at Toccoa and stuff. She was on the team and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's not like that lady saved her life, you know?
Right.
If Chanda couldn't sing now, I don't know. There is a balance.
Yeah, and I guess that's what I'm trying to figure out as we in 2020 is figuring that balance between.
And maybe balance isn't the right word. Recipe. Because we don't always want to be right in the middle, you know? It's like there's certain quantities.
Yeah, recipe is a good way to say it, because it's not a hard and fast thing. You know, maybe you change the recipe over time.
Yeah.
You know, it's more of a adaptive mechanism.
Right.
And, you know, balance, if you think of it as a tightrope, high wire act, I think that's a good way of thinking of it too, because it's practical. It's not just like, oh, I'm in the middle. It's like, oh, I'm, you know, it's very responsive. It's very nuanced. It's receiving stimuli and reacting to it. That kind of balance, I think, is good. When you just say, I'm going to be in the middle between libertarian and conservative, or liberal and conservative, or communist and capitalist, like, you're not in the middle. It's not. There's no such middle.
And it's like, so often I hear them say, you know what? You're coming from a place of arrogance. You know what? Saying that you're like some kind of third place, like above everybody else, that's not too humble.
No. There is no like independent observer. We're all subjective objects and objective subjects. Like, it's just these things. They're just word games meant to preserve the order. I think it's just meant to preserve the order. And you're basically just brainwave meme fodder to help preserve whatever order already exists. So you can either be that, or you can try to figure out what it means to be an individual in a society. And so when Ludwig von Mises, the Austrian economist, used the word society, he meant for it to be used as something against like a centralized power structure. That it's basically the way I describe surfers. All these surfers are acting out of self-interest. And because you know that, it's like driving on an Indian road. Everyone is acting out of self-interest. I like driving on Indian roads better than American roads, like even when it gets crazy, because you know what to expect from everybody. Everybody's job is to move as fast as possible. That's the rule without getting in a wreck. Not because you give a shit about anyone else, but because getting in a wreck is going to cause you to slow down even more. But it's an easier rule to follow than having to keep all these political things and because when people violate those political rules, like let's say, keep 2 cars distance between you and the person in front of you. You have that as a rule. Someone doesn't do it to you, you get pissed at them, and that distracts you. That's road rage causes so much road rage in America, is just all these artificial rules that no one cares about anyway, that people break all the time. But they're kind of like, oh, that was an unwritten rule, and you know, or actually it's actually a written rule.
I think it is. Yeah. It's almost because you said you like the Indian roads better because you know what to expect. It's almost like you don't know what to expect, and so you know how to react.
It makes you more offensive as a defensive. The best defense is a good offense.
But in America, it's like you know what to expect in the sense like you have these rules you have to fit in, and as soon as somebody breaks through over the line,
you're way out of line. I keep thinking about that from Blade Runner 2049. So like on Perfume Nationals, they were talking about it, and Orton I was in my head this way. You're way out of line. You're way off base. You're way off base, mister. It's like, and that is a recipe for disaster. Anybody, dudes or otherwise, but I think especially dudes, if you have any sort of like just nervous energy. Like my son right now, he's just in this phase. It's just like just running around like so much energy. It's like, you're way off base. Get back in your desk, mister.
Well, and it's interesting that Jordan B. Peterson talks about like how women are chaos and men are order. When he first said that, I sort of bristled at it because I'm chaos, you know. But really, the chaos is something I need to like. I need the lanes to keep me. I don't know. There's something about.
See, and that is kind of interesting because in our society, and I think this is one of the problems, women have typically been the institutionalizing, ordering force. Mm-hmm. And I think they're really meant to be like that idea of the ballet dancer free within their own comfortable constraint. Yeah. If that makes any sense. I don't know. It's like it's this beautiful wistful, Sophia, wisdom personified. Like wisdom. Yeah, but like wisdom personified not in a like stodgy, utilitarian, domesticated sense that says, you're way off base. Get back in your seat.
I mean, since they have this sort of, I don't know, natural sense of like order, it's funny, like they are chaos, but they have like, it seems to me like a natural sense of order, whereas men are order, like we're just simple.
Well, and we're trying to impose order on like the natural. We're trying to make it like we feel like a compulsion to, like to garden or like to agriculture, like get it like regimented. There people share that meme a lot now where it's like I'm gonna forget it. It's pine needles on a tree. And it's like chaos and order, and it shows like the pine needles all arranged, the different components of the tree limb all arranged like in order versus like the way that they're arranged on a tree, and it's spontaneous order, spontaneous generation that does not. It's fractal. It's not regimented. And I think that's kind of getting at what we're talking about a little bit here. That when you get into a surfing lineup, it's ordered, but the order is not centralized. Every human is its own organelle, and it's this. And if you watched it, if an alien were watching it, they would be like, "These are cells." If an alien were watching Indian roadways, they'd be like, "Oh, these are independent entities." And somehow they're like flock of birds. It's like we see that murmur of birds or whatever, the thing where it's like all the birds moving like that sort of
as
thing.
a unit.
As a unit, but in this incredibly complex, like beautiful ballet that has probably never been matched by humans, which is wild. The only thing I can think of in recent memory that I've seen is actually in China when they were putting together a bridge. You've seen that video? I mean, that's like that level. You want to talk about order through, I mean, all that's very regimented and centralized, but they're leveraging lessons from the animal kingdom, from ants or from birds, because you just see how everyone has a purpose and they're not having to do too much, each person. And so there are times, like in an orchestra, there's some people who just play a little bell, or just like hit a mallet against something. It's like not the hardest job in the world, but it is necessary. You need it. So there's the humans have the capacity to become less than human for a giant organization, but I think it needs to emulate the organic side of it rather than this faux domesticated, sterile, industrial organization.
Yeah, I guess my struggle is, though, that I look at people that have been successful, and usually I'm looking at that monetarily, like they have a lot of money. Yep. Is they have learned how to, it's that thing comes back to what I always talk about. We have a similar sense that we don't want to do it the conventional way,
right?
And it's the people that do everything the conventional way that end up like, when I look at them and say, how did he become so successful? And I look back, well, he did everything conventionally. Judah's over here trying to take shortcuts and
outsmart,
yes,
outsmart the system. Yeah. Clever by half, changing the game before we've even learned the rules of the game. Like you and me, we see the rules of the game. We're like, this is a dumb game. Hey guys, I gotta admit to the rules over here, and everyone's like, no one else is playing by that, dude. Like what? And that's kind of what I mean today by you have to, like, Curtis Yarvin mentioned Smolbug talking about exit, and the whole accelerationist idea of exit. I don't know exactly. It's like I agree with it and I don't agree with it. Like in the meantime, you have to deal with the situation as it stands, or you'll be like me and you, unless you're like super smart, I guess. But you look at the people who have made. It's like someone pointed out that Elon Musk's newest, all of his new spate of inventions are post-apocalypse. His new truck, his flamethrower, his boring stuff. It's like, is he planning for the end? And maybe Peter Thiel is the one who's going to bring it about. And they're like, maybe they're like Romulus and Remus, and maybe they're planning it all together. But yeah, unless you're that smart. But even they did PayPal. Like PayPal was not Bitcoin. I mean, it was playing with the established banking structures, established, fiat currency. It was playing by the rules of the game. It was just tweaking it. And so you have to start with tweaks. You can't start with whole overhauls.
Well, and that thing I like to come back to is learn the rules like a pro to break them like an artist.
Exactly. But you got to get to pro. And that's the problem, with me and you. It's like me with my video stuff. From the beginning, I was like swinging for the fences, trying to make a short film, and I was gonna, sell. I don't even know what the end game was with that moronic idea. But sometimes I guess you have to have this moonshot at least to get you in the door, and then you realize, oh no, there are a lot of people here that aren't stupid at all. Actually, they're really good. But you need to start there. And so that's the same thing. Like when I'm saying about surfing and solo queue, there's times I've wanted to walk away from League and from surfing because I'm just like, I'm not good enough. I'll never be as good as that guy. But then when I was over in India, I have 5 years basically not surfing very much at all. And this guy Albie Layer made this one video about his attempt to do there's so much debate about what it is, either a 540 or 720. Some people call it a 360. I'm like, you idiots. Like surfers have this problem where it's like this reverse. It's basically saying everything's smaller or lower than it is. Like just as a instead of exaggerating, it's underselling. So it's like, oh,
Okay.
that wave was 3 foot, man. I was like, dude, that was an 8.5 foot wave. I was like, well, nah, dude, it's only 3. We measure from the back, dude. And so, yeah, I mean, he did. So this whole video, when I saw that, it's like, well, it's too late for me. Like I saw that video, I think one time I'm like, I'm a surfer forever. Like just why? There's something about the way, it combined my passions, film, music, and surfing. And I was like, it's done for me. I can't escape this. And so you have to go to the lineup if you're a surfer. You cannot escape that. There's no exit from the game as it exists. Can we make it better? And like I said, when I was growing up surfing around here, even in Panama City, Florida, oh man, it was just it was so toxic. Like it scared you off the beach. You're just like, I'm just going to go surf somewhere else. But now it's just, you start to realize, it's just part of the game.
Do you think that that's your perception that's changed, or does it actually
That's
change?
true. You're probably right. It's probably just like solo queue. Eventually you just get used to what you thought was like, oh, it hurt my feelings. You just realize, oh, it's just how you say hey.
It's funny too, as I get older, so much less, and this is like a meme, right? Throughout the ages, old people saying, yeah, as I get older, things bother me less, but it's weird. You'd think that as a kid, so much youth is wasted on the young, whatever. I had so little to worry about then,
Right.
like, it's like, but everything bothered me.
Oh yeah, no, but that's true. Like as a kid, you make mountains out of molehills. I mean, every kid is a Don Quixote. I mean, just tilting at every windmill that comes his way, unless they're that unique kid and there was a time in my life before the Ford pseudo-intellectual middle-brow ranter took over and my channeled all my rage through rants, I guess, my Hulk rage, that I was just this enthusiastic nerdy goof. I'm keeping this, I think I might have shared this picture of me when I was at a church Christmas.
What was in the box?
It was like gifts. It was like a church Christmas play. And I ended up being such a douchebag that I got more lines than my cousin because it was like, I thought she had too many. And so then I basically just, I don't know, I peer pressured her to give me the lines. And I was actually reading those lines in the box. I ended up with too many. I was just such a little. So that is the problem with manic energy, is like you end up overselling yourself and believing too much in yourself. That's why razzing can be good, is because it can, kind of bring you back down to reality. But yeah, in our culture, you're not allowed to do that. It's going to hurt someone's feelings. Blah, blah. But yeah, we need some checking mechanism. And so some of these things have developed organically, like what we talk about in solo queue or in highly competitive environments where it is an individual's game. But yeah, how do we preserve the free will of the individual, but preserve taste in the meantime? Like you just don't, if somebody has a capability of being better than they are, and you tell them, oh, that was great. I mean, that convenient lie, people pleasing, is not actually helping them improve.
No. And I'm actually way better in my private practice, probably because I've been with some of these guys for so long, they get on my nerves. But like I will like flame them, like, what? How many times have I told you not to do this?
Right.
But I also come back with, I get angry because I know you can do it. You have the ability to do it. Yeah. Like I'm not trying to cut you down just because you're a piece of, no, I'm trying to form something here. And in some cases we're trying to accomplish this thing, and I know we can do it.
Right.
And you can help.
Definitely. Let me hit chat a little bit. We didn't have many people stick with us. Probably just 2 minutes of a word salad of pseudo-intellectual stuff. Dune said, oh wait, Siddharth said some stuff. Do you read the comments here? Heidel said, heading to Pacifico in February, better than Cloud9. You can participate in Operation Jack Slap, a sponsored program from Quicksilver. Contact me if this intrigues you. Okay. I don't even know what Pacifico is. Yeah, I forgot Heidel surfed Cloud9. His noodles are ready. Bye-bye. 10-letter words are for naughty people. Ta-ta, boys.
What does that mean?
I don't know. He's like always a step ahead of me. I pretend I'm the smart one. Siddharth said we want more movie reviews. It's happening, okay? 2020, it's happening, okay? It's happening. June said, just read the essay. The part about bad team play when there are only two people in voice comms is so true. Yeah. If you can get everybody in voice comms, it does help because then everyone can hold each other accountable. And if you're talking shit directly to the person. And so then you'll have somebody will be good cop, bad cop sort of scenario, and it can get a little better. Siddharth, I do read the comments, but once we get to the end, we're in the middle of the thing, blah, blah. Okay, Dune said, never thought LOL could give anyone philosophical thoughts. The only thoughts I get are suicidal ones. Too true. No, dude, I mean, I have gotten very violent thoughts playing that game. Like, they're just, I don't know, some people just have that magic ability. And that's a strength, too, that magic ability to get under your skin. Like, that could be used for good. I mean, it really could. Mm-hmm. We tend to dismiss this stuff. How? I don't know, but it can. Sometimes they're real bad people. And that person it's like the Hulk, At that point, then the superpower of maniacal evil can be useful. Like, I mean, we're not in a whole, we're not in this promised utopia here. Like, there are still bad people out there. I mean, Epstein didn't kill himself. Like, the meme is there. Like, we just watched True Detective season 3, and man, it's a slow season. Ostensibly, it's about race relationships, and it's about pedophilia, and then you get to the end, and it's not about what True Detective is normally about. It's about a husband and a wife, and it's, in my opinion, there are times where it feels contrived and forced, and you're like, forced conflict. And I got to the end, and I was like, that one fight they had was just like the fight I had with Melissa a month and a half ago. And if I'd have seen that out of context, not being me, I would have thought that's a contrived conflict. There's no way that argument would have happened. That's so stupid. People don't talk like that. No, it's just real. I got to the end of it. I was like, man, I don't know. It's one of the more affirming, I don't know. It's one of the more life-affirming detective shows I've ever seen. Like, I really loved how it ended. They depicted Alzheimer's so well. It reminds you of so many things. And that's, I think, the problem for some people will be like, oh, this is Memento. Oh, this is Finding Nemo with Dory. Oh, this is, there was another couple things that were just like, oh, Gone Baby Gone. There's
too derivative.
It recalls a lot of stuff, but the direction he goes with it, I thought was perfect. I thought it was very unique. And honestly, it's for me, it's like a pastiche of Zodiac, Memento, Gone Baby Gone, and not Gone Girl, Gone Baby Gone, and the other Affleck, and Finding Dory. What the hell is that? But honestly, like, their husband-wife relationship, seeing how it all ties up, and how aging with dignity, I would say that, and also their buddy cop. I don't know. I loved it, man. It was like the feel good. It's like it's like you read dirty stuff into stuff that isn't dirty, and you miss out on, and and it's like the first season is Pollyanna-ish approach to real life is overlooking pure, unmitigated evil right under your nose. You're painting over pure evil that's subsidizing your culture, and you need to be aware of it. So, like, that's where the shit talker could be useful. That's where you need a good little finger on your side. We can't all be Ned Starks, or you're just going to give the game away and get beat by someone who's better at this sort of stuff.
I had this interesting interaction with that last week. I was just doing terrible. I had a couple too many to drink, and I was like just playing terrible. I was just feeding, and this guy, like, I could tell. I've been working with Romanians. I could just tell he was Romanian, and he was telling me to go do things and uninstall, go play Roadblocks, and he started to get under my skin a little bit. I'm actually pretty unflappable,
right?
But something I think it was because I wanted to do better.
Oh, right.
Anyways, so I just threw out, like, I've been learning bits and pieces of Romanian. I was like, "Que faci?" And that means, like, "What's up?" And he just like went silent. He's like, "Are you Romanian? Oh, you're Romanian? Are you Romanian? I must know." It just like it got him off my back,
Right.
And it threw like a wrench into everything.
Right. Yeah, it's like if you get a scammer from India and you start speaking in Hindi, like all of a sudden they're like, oh, sir, I am not. No, sir, my name is Bob and I live in Atlanta, sir. Like they start overpronouncing the words. Like, dude, you can understand what I'm saying. Come on. Yeah, it's fun to throw in the. And this is again the one of the things why the whole catchphrase for the channel was always keep it creative, cross-cultural, constructive. Like coming back to America, I haven't kept the cross-cultural element, but it's something I want to re-imbue the channel with because it's so disarming. You know, even if you can get over it, it's like the icebreaker where you can actually have a real conversation if you can speak in the person's language, even just a few words, or maybe their subcultural language. It's like, oh wait, you like what? Like, yeah, I like that too. And then now you actually have some common frame of reference. And that's a way, you know, like seeing those guys in the lineup shaking hands, you know, they almost wiped out on top of each other, but they're just, you know, it's all good, man. Like navigating without that cooperative competition. I don't know. It's like navigating that with just the right, you know, just the right edge. And I think that's what we're kind of trying to figure out what to do. We hit a couple more of these. They were asking who you are. This is Judah, my buddy. We went to college together, and Judah helps me stay on focus a little more because I'll go off in 1,000 different tangents. I was writing this thing this morning and it started going off and I was like, okay, I have no idea where I'm going now. It's like I'm like writing 3 paragraphs at once, branching, you know, alternate dimensions.
I wish I could do that.
Siddharth said they 2 plus we 6 in the audience. This is like an elite group on YouTube now. Yeah, that's it. You're the VIP here. Love the Tarzan's Reformation arc. This Twitch rivals. So I don't actually know Tarzan's backstory. He was the jungler for Lol Tyler's team, the Shadow Dogs, and so at one point the jungler Tarzan he really played well. Of course, at the end, Tyler did everything he said. He's like, he's shit. He's shit tier jungler. You know, we just carried his ass. He's shit. But I think that was all just jokes. In the game, he got a quadra kill, and Tyler goes off. He's like, "That's it, Julian. That's it." Called him by his real name. He's like, "That's it. He's going to the pros. You want a jungler LCS? This is your man. Let's go, Julian." And it was really like, awesome. It was great. Like I mean, I was just saying it for the rest of the week. Let's go, Julian. Talking about balance, I watch PewDiePie plus Sadhguru plus Surfing Violinist. See, yeah, that's the trifecta. I think you have the Trinity there. You don't need nothing else, dude. That's
yeah, you
it.
do. You need some H3 in there.
No, H3 is they're dead meme, dude. It's over.
What?
Yeah, H3 is dead meme. R.I.P. Press F. No, you know. Actually, they asked what I think of JBP. It's kind of the same thing with H3. I still have a soft spot for JBP, even after the controversy, and I understand. This is again that toxicity we're talking about. If you shut down chat and say, "Oh, well, you can't say something bad about JBP or whoever that you're," when you start enforcing blasphemy law, then it isn't the lineup anymore. You know, it's not solo queue anymore. You're taking the edge off to make things. It's just like, I don't know.
There's no cooperation.
Yeah, because you're basically stepping in and saying centralization for me, but not for thee, and that's my frustration with all of the power structures that we have in place now. That they're just they don't ever hold the mirror up.
Yeah,
it's like I'm the one that's setting the taste here, and none of you can question it. And as soon as you hurt my feelings, then we're gonna have a problem. And I like, unless you're willing to open yourself up to the toxicity,
I like for me, I don't know. I never enjoyed JBP because of his non-druggy habits. Like
Right.
that had him getting hooked on medication. Like,
Well, and
didn't even phase me.
and he was never anti-drug. He was never anti-prescription
Right.
drug. And
If it had come out that he was snorting cocaine, I would have been like, okay, I don't care. I don't care. Like,
Right.
That doesn't have anything to do with the reason I like him. Like, if my pastor came out and he was snorting, like that would shake me a little bit. But JBP is not preaching. Like, he's not.
It's not a teetotaler, right?
No.
Right. Yeah, and so and the irony about some of this cancel culture that we inhabit, it's like, but it's the same kind of thing that religious people do. It's like canceling Tchaikovsky because he might have been closeted gay. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, this is the stupidest shit. And it's like, well, I mean, we talk about in reverse redaction about people taking down like old Confederate monuments or whatever. I was like, well, the church has done that shit for years, like just canceling people because they, found out, oh, they had an affair, or they like, we're going to pretend that person never said anything good. You can appreciate the art without embracing the man. Like, I don't. So this weird sort of total package idea of,
it would have troubled me more if I found out he was a vegetarian now. Honestly, that I would have been like, I'm not listening to him anymore. That shit, like, no.
He's been peddling meat for 2 years, and it turns out,
honestly,
I'm a closeted vegetarian.
He was really a vegetarian. I that would have shook me.
Oh man. Oh, Siddharth, why'd you unsubscribe me? Don't unsubscribe me, please.
He's joking.
Oh, it's okay. Siddharth had to go because he had to watch Naruto. Hey, that rhymed. That's got some flow. Heidel Stress Call says, noodles are finished now. Let's play some Jim Varney. Sure am glad it's raining. Man, there's so many references there. Jim Varney, isn't that Ernest? What is
he has music?
No.
Oh.
Wait, does he? Jim Varney. That's Ernest, right?
It's gotta be.
Yeah. Ernest P. Worrell. Hey, Vern.
Hey, Vern.
Meme Man used to live in Panama City? What? That's weird. Don't leave. We need more intellectual verbiage amongst the mass.
What? Did you skipped over Gyro, man.
I missed Gyro. Where was he at?
He said, people usually say, I don't like confrontation, but are most likely to get into an altercation just like that. I don't think they have any concept of confrontational avoidance. Try an introvert. So I think he's talking about like how, I don't know, I interpret it to say like the people that are always like, I don't like confrontation end up blowing up on other people. They're, I don't know.
Yeah. Huh.
I don't know. Try an introvert. That's the part that I don't understand. Maybe.
Yeah, I have noticed that in my own life that it's almost like it's a hypocritical cope, that I avoid the confrontation, but it builds up this reservoir of angst and frustration, and then it all comes out on somebody who didn't. The punishment doesn't fit the crime. So, yeah, it's like a
build-up type thing.
Yeah, like this morning, I probably should have said, something without being a total douche, but being like, y'all. It's like the British dude said this morning. It's like, people got to go to work, and they're planning their day, and because you're late to work, and you're here though, you could have still opened the door, leaving people out in the cold. In your irresponsibility is going to push us behind. Just even saying something like that. Like, it's like, I'm paying you money.
Yeah.
Like, you are responsible to me. Like, nobody forced you to be here.
Yeah.
But there is this sort of entitlement where it's like, oh, well, I get to not do a good job, still get paid. And that's
You
my
know what
right. That's my fundamental right.
You know what I find helps with that is questions. So like instead of saying you, like as soon as you get in, like I haven't done this yet, but I'm planning on one day being more like when I get in those situations, I get through the door, I say, are are you guys having you have to, it takes more like thought, but like some kind of question like why were you guys, is everything okay, why were you guys not able to answer the door on time when we were sitting right out here, like there's a way to confront
Right.
by getting information, by fact data collecting.
Yeah, and I think online it's just like coming all out in this sort of vengeful tirade because you're not allowed to do it anywhere else. And so it's like and that's why I think going to solo queue is a good thing. That's why I think leaving chat open is a good thing. There's times Melissa said like, why do you subject yourself to this? To the scrutiny of the chat class. It's like, because we're all the chat class. Like we're all talking shit all the time when nobody's listening. Like that's just, everyone is judging everyone all the time. Like when we were watching True Detective, I was like, oh, that was a great shot. Oh, that was shit. Ugh, that performance is off. I mean, we're all talking, like everyone is sizing everyone up. We're all the chat class. So when you put yourself behind an artificial barrier and pretend that you're not getting criticized, that's bad for you.
Yeah.
It's not just bad for anyone else. It's bad for you. I'm perfect.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's difficult, but I think it's real. In all its excess venom, it's actually more real than faux, politically correct. Oh, did so good. What a piece of shit. I hate your guts. Oh, yeah. Carmask, what do you consider the role of intuition to be in relation with order and chaos? And that is, JVP has some good stuff on that, man. Talking about just learning to dance that yin yang that has, if one side's order, one side's chaos, you got the dot of order in the chaos and a dot of the chaos in the order, that just symbolizing that it isn't, they're integrated and improvisational. Like you do need intuition to know when it's time for the chaos, or else it's going to be just static, mundane, synthetic, sterile. It's going to be too predictable, and there's just no life. There's no joy in that. And so intuition, I think, like last night we had it's probably the best, one of the best performances of In the Pines we've ever done, which is one of my favorite ones that we do. It's the best one we've done in over a year, or just about a year. And, we just keep referencing, I say it all the time, but Carlos Santana, apparently, Anthony told us, like, he's like, you get to supersonic mode. And when you're in supersonic mode, the Holy Spirit takes over. The Holy Ghost takes over. And it just feels like that, like where one person takes lead for a minute. Like the drummer last night, we had a visiting drummer, and he, our buddy John doesn't have as big of a kit. He takes kind of the more portable kit. And so, but the guy last night was his first night playing with us, and so he brought his floor tom, and he did the tom and the kick together. So you have that pop from the tom, but it's it's deeper than the snare, and it was merged with the bass kick. And we were actually fading out, me and Anthony. I think we were pretty much at the end of the song, and then he came in with that, and it's like me and Anthony didn't look at each other, and it was just knew. It was just like that dude took the lead. Us, by all accounts, Anthony's the leader, but that dude took the lead, felt something, went with it. The Spirit spoke, and then we just went into this. I felt like whatever. I mean, dude, Jimi Hendrix level at Woodstock. Okay, I mean, it was me last night. Like, I don't like whatever. You had to be there, I guess.
Wow.
But I mean, the funny thing is, there are people there that don't like. You're just like, boop. It's just live music, whatever. It was like, no, you were here for a moment, okay?
Wow.
But it's because of that dude. Like, I didn't bring that in, and if we tried to do it again, we wouldn't be able to duplicate it. Like, do I get credit for that, or does God get credit for that? Does music get credit for that? I don't know. but that kind of gets at what we're talking about, this intuitional, organic organization instead of, whatever. All right. We're running out of time here. Tarzan is the one guy that has talent but needs to check his attitude, and now he's less toxic. His chat was nice to him to the first time he started crying. Well, yeah, I think that stuff does happen. I mean, Tyler one's done that over the years where he's trolled his audience, where somebody gave him $500 or something like that, and he started crying, and then he just and it just went a bad. He totally fake cried. He was like crying on stream. Everyone's like, "Oh, it's emotional." And he's like, and he just takes a bite of something and he goes back to playing. You did that for me. That's Twitch right there.
Oh, that is Twitch.
Oh man. All right, guys. Godspeed. Until next time, keep it creative, cross-cultural, and constructive. For those of you waiting for the cross-cultural India stuff, don't worry. It is coming back in 2020. It's happening, babe. We just got to get moved. There's so many people waiting for me to move. I'm supposed to have people over. We're going to, have some dinners. And it's just been 7 months of...
You know what? Tell them it'll happen when it happens.
It'll happen when it happens, baby. And it is going to happen. 2020 is going to be a great year. Yeah. And look to Tyler One and Nathan Florence as examples. I mentioned Nathan Florence specifically because it's his video, but his buddy Koa Rothman has his own video series, and just the two of them together are just so great. Koa they just have the joy de vivre or the aloha spirit. Just love those two kids, man, and less toxic than Tyler. But we gotta have a little Tyler spice. So thanks to those of you in chat providing the spice for today, and until next time, Godspeed. I'm waiting for Jamie to turn off the stream.